Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Comic Book Syndicate review of Shazam! Fury of the Gods. The second Shazam movie. Can we just tell the audience in 30 seconds what happens in this movie, Joshua Mervell?
Oh, yeah, sure. Essentially, two goddesses. Spoiler alert, this is spoiler heavy. It turns out three goddesses.
Yes.
Return to Earth looking for Shazam's staff, and they put it back together and they start kind of like wreaking havoc on Earth, and they have this master plan to destroy Earth by planting this tree that's going to bring all of these monsters from this magical realm to Earth and kind of grow their former Earth.
Right.
On
it's funny.
planet.
I just saw the movie and I barely even remember that because, I mean, there is a plot to the film, but it's not really what I was paying attention to.
Right.
Let's just talk about... Okay, there's a lot going on with DC right now. This is the second Shazam film, but it's also the first film released after James Gunn made his big announcement that he's rebooting the DC cinematic universe, right? Or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So... There's a lot of films that were kind of tentatively on the chopping block, right?
Right.
Some films have been canceled. Some films have been, I'm assuming, modified. This film has still come out as is. We'll save the spoiler alerts for the end as far as post-credit sequences and everything. Yeah. But let's just talk about, I'm just going to say that, every year they release a bunch of superhero films and people talk about fatigue. And this is the first time I'm not saying I have superhero movie fatigue, but I have this style of superhero movie fatigue. What do you think?
Everything was just so fast paced. It feels very different from a lot of the other DC movies, I think.
Okay.
Because the other ones feel like they have a strong start and then usually kind of fall off really quickly. And they also have these kind of like bad guys that are just dudes that show up at the end, don't really have anything connected with the heroes, and then it's dark and gritty and boring. This one felt like it was trying to capture the tone of the first one, but maybe trying too hard to lean into the zany, goofy kids feel.
Yes.
And it went, I think, overboard with it.
Now, I should say that my theory about a lot of superhero movies is that some of them are a 6 out of 10, some of them are 7 out of 10, and people, when they're 6 out of 10, people pounce on them, and when they're 7 out of 10, they elevate them to be masterpieces. That's right. My theory. And I think this movie is not that much worse than the first Shazam. It's just that it's a little bit more of the same, and like you said, a little bit trying a little bit too hard, there's things about the first movie that grated on my nerves, but I did appreciate the tone. Right. They were going for like an 80s kids family film, like something Steven Spielberg would do, which I really like. However, I thought that the two lead actors in the first film were really overacting, and I found the same thing in this movie. I found them to be almost insufferable, to be honest. Yeah,
that's definitely one of the big problems I had with this movie. I actually really like the first Shazam.
Okay.
I think it's one of my favorite DCEU movies. Sure. Not my favorite. And this one, it really felt like Zachary Levi, with the critical success of the first one and how everybody really liked his performance, he's amped up that goofy kind of kid, like this is my character now, like I am Shazam, so I'm going to go crazy and zany with it. And his performance did not match teenage Billy's performance. They were not the same character in this movie.
Or in the same movie.
Yeah. Billy is an almost 18-year-old, and he's acting like an angsty teenager. And Zachary Levi is still in a movie where he's playing a 14-year-old flossing and telling goofs and just being an idiot.
Yes, let's talk about him for a minute. Yeah. So they had a similar problem with the Shazam TV show, which we just reviewed, where the actor playing Billy Batson was like 24.
Yeah.
He was almost as tall as the actor playing Captain Marvel. In this film, the actor is 18. In the first film, which was 4 years ago, he was 14, which, to be honest, was borderline too old. They should have started with an 8-year-old, which sounds outrageous, but when you're doing these movies only every 3 years, you kind of have to go someone young.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it's just that it wasn't cohesive. If they wanted to tell a story about a teenager dealing with superpowers now instead of a kid,
sure,
then that's what they should have done. And that's what I think the younger Billy performance was, and then the Shazam Billy performance was still the 14-year-old from the first movie. If they're telling the story about him being afraid of aging out of the foster system and his parents not accepting him, and
sure,
you know, kind of a little bit of a rehash of the feelings and the tone of the first one, then they should have. That's what Shazam should have been acting like throughout the movie. He should have also been angsty instead of like, oh, come on, guys, you're not going to follow my lead. He should have been more angsty. He should have maybe been like a moody teenager.
That's a good point.
And it would have like fit with the tone, I think, more. Like, he's really trying to bring all of the kids back together and form this like superhero team, and none of them are really interested to work together. The only one really that wants to still be a superhero kind of wants to go off by himself and be a superhero. So he's like desperately clinging on and trying to bring these people together, and we don't see that through the way he's acting, but only through his dialogue. You know,
it's also interesting because whenever Billy Batson does pop up on screen, he's acting nothing like Zachary Levi.
Zachary Levi, yeah,
nothing like him. So you're right. It's like, it's just, why didn't someone point that out when they were making the film? It doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
But we still have a few more actors to talk about. Let's just run them through.
Yeah,
quickly.
for sure.
We're going to talk about the actor that played Freddie Freeman, right?
Yeah, I think it was the best part of the movie. And I think for better or worse, I think that he knew the character that he was playing. I think he played it well. He was the weird, quirky sidekick. This is also Jack Dylan Grazer.
Sure.
And then the Shazammed form is played by Adam Brody.
Which is bizarre because Adam Brody is a great actor in his own right, I think. By the way, if you've ever seen Kid Detective, check it out. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. It almost felt like Zachary Levi was playing the Shazam of Freddy in this movie.
Sure.
Like, I don't know. It just wasn't fitting.
Sure.
But yeah, I think he's great, and I think with a better script and a better movie, I think that it would have been the standout performance of this flick.
See, I thought his acting was okay, but I do think, just like Zachary Levi, he was overacting. Yeah. Not as badly, but I still thought he was overdoing that part, and if he would have just toned it down a little bit, he would have done a lot better. But I do think he has it. He has the right look, and he has the talent, but I just think that he was overdoing it.
I think that it felt like he was overdoing it so much because everybody else in this movie felt like they didn't want to be in it. And maybe we could kind of jump over to like the three new characters, the three villains of this movie. So we had Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu playing the daughters of Atlas.
Sure.
And why did they cast them in the movie?
Well,
like, I like both of them, and they could make great supervillains, but they don't do anything in the movie. Like, there's no time for them to act. There's nothing special or interesting about their characters. Like, they don't even really do anything cool in the movie.
Well, okay, here's a good contrast.
Yeah.
Helen Mirren is British. My theory about British actors is they do a good job no matter what material they're handed, okay? That's why, like Doctor Who, even the worst episode of Doctor Who, the acting is always great, right? So Helen Mirren was great. Lucy Liu was okay. She's kind of the same as she always is in any movie. But the rest of the American actors that played the Shazam family, they all seemed bored out of their minds. The girl who played Mary Marvel, she's a good actress. Yeah. But she seemed either like her character was bored or the actor was bored, because she just seemed like she was in a different movie. You know what I mean? Now, if we're going to contrast the two witches or whatever they were, the two goddesses, the evil goddesses.
It was Calypso and...
Right.
Oh, I don't remember. I can't remember.
But the third actress from West Side Story...
West Side Story, yeah.
She was great. I thought she was excellent. It was, again, she was in a different movie. She turned out such a good performance. I actually forgot it was her until I read the credits later.
Rachel Zegler.
What's her name?
Rachel Zegler.
Rachel Zegler was a standout. She was, in my opinion, the best thing in the movie. She's going to be a superstar, I think. Perfect for the role. Also tricked me, right? Pulled the wool over my eyes. I had a little bit of suspicion that this twist was coming.
Oh, that twist. Okay. Yeah, let's maybe talk about this twist.
Sure.
I didn't see it coming, but I also didn't have a chance to think that she was...
Because she was in 2 scenes?
Yeah, she was in 2 scenes, and then this twist happens. I didn't even remember her name when they did the reveal.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Anne,
They were like, Anne. Oh my God, Anne. I'm like, wait, who's Anne?
Right.
And then I don't even think that they cut to her right away. Like they don't do
it's
like
not
the,
like they do, like, the
Anne, and then it cuts to like
her
a
face.
shot of her. It wasn't even that. It was
Right.
like a couple shots later, and I think Freddie says Anne,
Sure.
and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing
Yes.
this. That twist happens so early on in the movie that we don't even get a chance to feel anything for that twist.
I guess-
like we don't feel betrayed.
That's true. It would have made it a much better twist to drag it out another half hour at least, right?
Yeah.
Or half the movie. I do like the fact that throughout the film, even though she was associated with them, she was never really 100% sold on the cause, and kind of like was always sympathizing with Freddie. That was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was nice, right? Like her character seemed real. I thought she was fine. The other two, like we both said, they were kind of underused. They didn't really do that much.
Yeah.
They were okay, but they weren't great.
Yeah, like it wasn't a bad performance, but
Right.
they didn't have anything to work with. Like
Yes.
they didn't seem menacing because they don't really do anything that's like really cool or interesting, or like they don't have any, like they give us some powers. Like Lucy Liu's character can whisper in people's ears and make them do things, and then Helen Mirren's character,
Good question. What can
she
she
does
do?
something,
And then what does...
and then
Rachel's
character does like the Doctor Strange city changing thing.
Right, yes, that was cool.
Yeah, visually it looks cool, but
Yeah. Okay, at least I appreciate that they incorporated Greek goddesses into this, right? Like bringing in the mythology was cool, because if you're not going to do that, why do Shazam? Why do Captain Marvel, right? Okay, so we've covered the new actors in the movie. We've already talked about Mary Marvel. We haven't talked about the actor that played Shazam the Wizard.
Oh right, yeah, he has like a bigger role in this movie.
I thought I got what they were going for, but they could have done it a little bit better. He was kind of like a little bit of fish out of water.
Yeah, but we don't really even see him in
The first one?
No, or in the city for most of the movie, and when he's kind of just in the back of the van getting driven around everywhere. Yeah, they could have given him way more to do in the movie, and the worst part about the movie, in my opinion, is how it ends. I don't know if you want to jump straight to the ending, but
let's just jump to the ending.
I think that his character could have had a big part in fixing the ending of this movie, and it could have given him something to do at the end of the movie to be involved in this final battle, because he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He talks about unicorns and gives them the idea for that, and then that's it. He's kind of just in the background of all of the shots.
I guess, should we talk about the surprise character? I mean,
let's explain kind of how the movie ends,
go ahead.
Right?
Okay.
So, like, to defeat the goddess at the end and the dragon that is set loose on Philly, right? They shrink this bubble that is containing the city to the size of the football stadium where the tree is, and where the dragon is, and where this last witch is, and then Billy traps himself inside the bubble with them and overloads the staff, which explodes, and it defeats everybody. And Billy dies. We get a moment where all of his foster brothers and sisters and his parents kind of mourn for his loss.
Right.
And then we kind of cut to them burying Billy under like another one of the life trees, I guess.
Yes.
And then Wonder Woman shows up and
surprise!
just touches the staff and brings him back to life, and he he digs himself out of the grave that they just buried for him. Like,
there's an old expression, Deus ex machina, and this movie
This is a real one.
This is a literal
people
Deus Ex Machina.
people overuse that as like a they don't fully understand. This is 100% what that means.
Right.
Like, she comes out of nowhere. We only see her in this weird dream sequence that Billy has. Yeah. And it's like, we don't even see her face, right? Like, she's cut off, and it's just kind of played off as a gag. And then she actually shows up in the movie. Yeah. There's no reason, like, they never talk about her in the movie. It's like completely caught off guard. If you don't even know that this is a DC movie, it would feel weird that she even shows up, right? Like, it's very strange.
Well, also, the lighting is so weird on Gal Gadot that she looks like CGI. The first 30 seconds, I'm like, oh, that's not even her, and then you realize it is her. But it was just really weirdly shot.
Probably because it was all probably shot afterwards, and she's just on a plate, and they put her in the scene. I don't even think she physically interacts with any of the characters, right?
That's
like
rough.
She kind of just grabs the staff and then taps it on the ground, and
so that's probably a last minute, right? Like, here's a couple $100,000, come and do your cameo in this film, right? Save it. Unsatisfying ending,
right? So, they could have set up the wizard. He has the splinter of the staff that he's used to send messages, right? They could have used that to bring him back, or give the other kids their powers back with like the sliver. They could have used the doors that they use throughout the whole movie. Like, this whole movie, they're talking about all of these doors that lead to everywhere, and even the first movie is all about writing those symbols on the doors, and it opens up to their new secret lair. Why couldn't they open up a door into the bubble and grab him as he's, and then it's like his family is now come together and are working together like he wants, and it's like it all kind of comes together at this point that he gets pulled out of the bubble at the last second. Why do we need to kill him off so we can have like another DC cameo out of nowhere? And it doesn't even make sense. So the wizard staff can just bring any character back to life. So like, all of the kids are now immortal. Because if any of them die, they could just have Wonder Woman tap the staff and they're back to life again, right? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is when you're watching these movies, a lot of times you see an idea like this that screams like draft one. Yeah. And you just think it'd be so easy to just rewrite a draft. Just do it one more time and smooth out those rough areas. And like you said, tie things together. If you're going to build up these doors over the course of the movie, wrap it up in the end by using it in the climax. And so it ends up just feeling unsatisfying. And like you just said, that is the literal definition of Deus Ex Machina, of just pulling something, an actual god, out of a machine to come into the story, solve the story's problem, and kind of tell everyone what their fates will be, which is what she kind of does, right? Yeah. So, not very satisfying. We do get a name, finally. The characters are named. We should point out, for the first two movies, they were never named. I don't remember, what did they settle on? Was it Shazam?
Yeah.
Okay, we should point out, so the character was nameless for the first movie and almost all of the second movie. DC has just announced that on the comics, they're changing the name a third time to the Captain.
The Captain, right.
So, again, I didn't mind Shazam, but just stick with one or the other. It's either got to be Captain Marvel or Shazam, not the Captain, but whatever. Okay, fine.
It is a little strange thinking about it, that his name is Shazam, so he can't even say his name in like a battle. You know what I mean? Like, none of them can say.
You're right. Although, I should point out in the comics, all the characters would say Shazam to turn into the superheroes, except one of them. You know which one?
Black Adam,
No, Captain Marvel Jr. would say Captain Marvel.
Oh.
It was ridiculous. So if you watch the old
That's so strange.
70s cartoon, Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel would shout, Shazam! And then you'd hear Captain Marvel, like off to the side. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
That's great.
So we've ran through all the characters. We've talked about the plot. Let's. What are our final thoughts? I mean, I think this is the writing. The writing is on the wall. They've talked about what's his name. James Gunn said, "Oh yeah, I'd be curious or interested in continuing to use Zachary Levi." And then the other co-head of DC Films was like, "Whoa, this depends on the box office performance." And judging by what it's doing, as far as I know, it's failing.
Right. Well, Peter Safran, I believe, right? Okay. He's the one who produced this movie. So he's already the one kind of in charge. So I have no idea what they're going to do. But it's... I think the first one was also only like kind of a success, right? Like I think I don't even think it hit 500.
That's possible.
Like
it's possible.
It was good. I think it was a fun.
Sure, the tone.
Fun
I like
movie.
the tone.
Yeah. It's and it's very different too from even anything that Marvel is doing.
Yeah.
The first one I think is like fresh and different. So it's always nice because I like superhero movies.
Sure.
But when they start to become all the same, which even Marvel is starting to kind of just be all the same, it gets tiring.
Sure.
So seeing that, it was like refreshing and nice to see. So if they do continue it on, hopefully it's in better hands. I don't know. This whole shuffle is so strange. Like they're being very weird with what they're choosing to keep and bring forward.
Yeah, but okay, here's the other problem.
Yeah.
If they wait 4 years to do another movie, the actor who plays Billy Batson is going to be 22, right?
Right.
It won't work, I don't think. So, in my opinion, at this point, they should just start fresh.
Right.
I mean, there are some things I like about these two movies, but it's not worth it. To me, it's not worth it. I'd rather just they start fresh.
It is kind of nice that they pretty much stand on their own.
Yeah,
anyways, so.
That's true. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of inter-film continuity anyway, so I don't care if they keep it separate.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't care as much as everybody else. That's for sure. Especially, I don't think DC is as cohesive as Marvel, simply because Marvel's characters were all created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko, and DC's were all created by completely different people.
Yeah, especially the tone of the other films in the DCU.
Right.
Like, I can't see Shazam and this version of Batman, like the Ben Affleck Batman, in the same film. Even Superman, like they don't mesh well.
I agree.
So yeah, maybe it's for the better that they're gonna do a reboot on
Big
this
reboot.
one.
James Gunn, save us, please. Now, so that wraps up our review of Shazam: Fury of the Gods. But be sure to watch our review of Shazam: the TV show on next week's episode of Tape Crusaders.
Isn't it out already?
No. Oh wait, is it?
It's out. It's
already out.
The day of filming, I believe.
Yes.
It's out.
It's already out right now on YouTube, on the website, on Launchpad, Launchpad's the other thing. Hopefully it's on Spotify. I think
YouTube,
it will be too.
Facebook,
iTunes,
anywhere
all
you
those
can
things.
find like
Facebook, yes.
videos, podcasts, we're there.
Not Twitter. So anyway, and then also be sure to join us on Slam.
That's
right. Next week's episode of Slam will feature the Crimson Avengers, so be sure to join us for that. And then anything else you'd like to say?
I don't think so. I don't know. This movie had a lot of fun things in it. Some really great set pieces, but I think the story and the characters really fall flat. So
for me, overacting. I appreciate the tone, but they need to either change these actors or change the director. That's my final word.
Yeah.
So there you go. Until next time. At the same time, let's say it. Shazam! Captain Marvel.